Hey guys, very good afternoon to all of you. Welcome to one of the last decision making sessions of this particular year for XAT 2023. I have got some really good sets as far as decision making goes. I have one or two calculation based set. I have some really good probability based set for you. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. The basic theory has already been covered for you in a lot of other sessions. This is just a practice session. But before we get in, a small pointer to many of you. I hope by now all of you realize that the XAT exam, there's a new notification that has come out a couple of days back where they have mentioned that there will be 175 minutes for the exam, that is the section 1. And the only other change in the number of questions is decision making will have 22 questions. Right? I'm sure all of you know this. Good afternoon, Gaurav. So, what do you read about this? What do you read into this? Why do you think they have done that? I want to see what you guys are thinking. Good afternoon, Adarsh. So, I need to understand why, at least what is your opinion of why they have done this increase of 10 minutes and one question in decision making. So, let's see if you've got any thoughts. If you've got any thoughts, please post it in the comments. I will continue with the session. And if you have any thoughts, that will be great. How many sets would be there? Sicario. So again, there are multiple theories. Nobody is right because we don't know the paper yet. But yeah, the worst case scenario I can think of 11 sets, 2 questions each, 11 2 set 22. And that's a lot of reading for you. And the best case scenario is I'm looking at 5 or rather 6 sets of 3 questions each. So 6 3s are 18. And the last 2 sets, that is 7 and 8, will be 2 questions each. So 18 plus 2 plus 2, that's 22. So somewhere in this is what I'm expecting. I don't expect individual questions to come in. It usually, I don't expect it to be 21, 7 3s are 21 plus 1 individual. More difficult language, no, I don't think they will do that. More buffer, not required for mistake. Okay, somebody is saying, SP Learn says, you need more time to avoid mistakes in decision making. Guys, decision making, I can guarantee if I give you 1 hour only for decision making, you'll still make the same mistakes. Your decision making is not like maths where you give me more time, I'll solve more and I'll get my answer. Decision making does not work that way. The way in which your brain works, it works the same whether you think for 2 minutes or whether you think for 5 minutes when it comes to decisions. Because these are questions which don't have a hence proved correct answer. If it is maths and science and physics, biology, you can prove things. It is not like this. You just need to, whatever you feel is right, that's the correct answer for you. That's all. So it does not require that much amount of time. Mridul, IMA calls are not out. I've seen students talking about it. It is IMA PhD calls, not the PGP calls. So not yet out. LP says maybe this year question paper will be tough. LP, see, if the question paper is tough, there is no need for them to increase the time. You don't see that happening in CAT or any other exam, right? Every other exam sticks to their timeline. They will make the question paper tough if they want to. They don't need to increase the timeline. The only other reason which I believe can happen is they are giving you decision making questions which are a bit more calculation oriented. So if they are giving you calculation oriented questions in decision making compared to non-calculation oriented, it will take more time because you have to run through the numbers. I have 1 or 2 questions. We'll see through them. We'll see how long it will take. But yes, if that is happening, maybe there will be extra time required. Maybe. Okay. Sharma, there are a lot of new questions today. Few old questions also. So yes, that could be it. Let me see some more comments. Students could attempt more number of questions. Soumya, so why should the examiner bother about it? At the end of the day, a topper, you will still attempt more number of questions than a student who's not that great. So it will not serve any purpose, right? So if I give you more time, does not mean that you will attempt more questions than the topper. The topper is always going to be ahead of you if you are not already the topper. So what's the point of doing that? Okay, maybe the extra questions in DM is for students to get a chance to score an extra mark as it is a neutral section and specifies to owing this. I didn't understand what do you means, Shania. If the exam includes 2 questions per set, it would be the worst case scenario, as it would be taking a really big chunk of time on decision making section. Ankit, that's correct. So you have to be very judicious about your time consumption, because you have 3 sections even now. You have to take a call based on how the decision making paper changes. Should you spend, I ideally would recommend 30-35 minutes or 40 minutes max in your decision making, not more than that. So you have to make sure that your 40 minutes you're giving to decision making, go to the other sections. If time permits, come back to decision making, because you need 5-6 marks in decision making to meet the cutoff if the paper is difficult. If the paper is easy, 7.5 to 8 marks is enough. So, and decision making, in my opinion, is anyway never a high scorer. At 12-13 marks, you will be a 99.8 or a 99.9 percentiler in decision making. So decision making students usually don't score high. So your maximization should not come from DM, it should come from your quant, DI or your verbal section. Okay, anyway guys, so as I said, Gautam has also taken a video on this. I'm giving my own opinions. Don't worry too much about it. Don't break your head. Whatever is happening for all of you. It is not that somebody is getting an advantage. So be smart. Keep one thing in mind. Your time in decision making, 40 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes is what you spend. If you want to spend more, come back after the other 2 sections are visited. Don't spend 50-60 minutes in decision making alone. Okay, let's move ahead and start with the questions for today's session. I hope all of you are ready. But again, there's not much of calculation for the first few sets. But yes, you need to have a paper and pen with you, because there are 1 or 2 sets where calculations are to be done. I hope all of you are ready. Right guys, should I start? Can I have a quick round of yeses from all of you? Also a quick click on the like button for this particular video. I want to see some likes going up, and I want to see confirmation from you guys talking about should I start the questions. Alright, moving on. So this is the first set. Read the information. This is actually one of the questions that did come in the previous years, but it's a bit old, so I don't know how many of you would have come across this particular question. But yes, go ahead and take a look at this question. Don't forget to give me a like on this video, guys. We will be coming back to you with a lot more videos going forward. Okay, did you read? Can I move to the next slide? Alright, so moving on to the next slide. Here's the first question. Try to give me an answer. Okay, I've got E, C, B. Please remember, what must not be done. They are not asking you what must be done. Be very careful. They are asking you what must not be done. So which of these 5 options you should not do? Guaranteed you should not do. Others you can consider. That is a question. Very interesting. I've got C, D, E, A, B. I've got all options. Well, the correct answer, my friends, is option A. Let us try to understand why is option A the correct answer. Now first let's look at it. First let's look at the problem statement. The problem is quality department was not happy with the product. So the quality department is, and please remember, raw material suppliers wanted to supply lower quality. It's not that they are supplying lower quality. So currently, whatever quality I am getting, that itself, my quality department, QC department, quality check department, they are not happy. Which means this quickie product, people are liking it. There is no complaint, but somehow my quality department is not happy, which means something could be a wrong or an issue in it. Please keep that in mind. Now look at it. If I look at the fifth option, stop production of quickie till committee submits its report. Now, if I know that my quality department is not happy, there could be something serious. This is one of the things which I should be doing last, but it's still there in my consideration. It will still be there in my consideration because I'm also selling the other two products. I'm not stopping altogether. I'm selling the other two products. There could be an issue in this. Let the committee decide what is happening and then I'll start selling if everything is fine. That can be doable. Look at this. Reduce the production of, see, if this, the moment you agree to this, automatically these three will also be possible for you. Because you're saying you're okay to stop producing for the temporary being, then automatically reduction, keeping the same production and bringing the better raw material, all of them should be logically possible for you to do. Which means A should be the answer, because if you look at why A is the answer, what you're saying is produce only quick and it gives the highest profits. So you're basically saying that you're stopping the other two products completely and you're only continuing with the quick, which your own department is not happy. What if you sell and then there is an issue in this and that issue backfires? So your entire reputation of the company will be going for a toss. The only product you're selling is going to be a faulty product. You don't want that reputation. Therefore, A is the thing you should not do, and in fact, A is the answer. That is the thing you should not do. Is this clear to all of you? First question, many of you got this wrong. You need to understand why particular answer is correct. Okay? Let's move on to the second question. What is the temperature at my place? I'm in Bangalore, so the temperature here is pretty decent, about 20, 22, 24. Today it's pretty sunny actually. I believe you are in one of those temperatures, low temperature places, 4 degrees. Delhi was 2.5 yesterday apparently. Anyway, second question. What is the answer to this? This is easy. All of you should be getting the answer. There's a lot of lag in the chat. Okay, the answer is E. This is very straightforward. Rahim set up a brand committee comprising of a few selected managers headed by Robert. The committee proposed that IBM should continue to manufacture the 3 differently branded products. It also proposed to recruit a new brand manager for improving brand images of the product. It agreed with Rahim that the company should increase the price. Rocket Singh, head of sales, was confused because he realized that the customers were miffed. What is the meaning of miffed? Miffed is kind of an anger, not really angry, but yeah, irritated and angry at the same time. With run of the mill and max. What should Rocket Singh do? So basically, you know that the committee said you should continue with all 3. So your internal committee is saying, look, go ahead with all 3. And you also know that the customers are not really happy with the 2 of the products. Now stop production of quick. This launch one more product to increase sales. You're not addressing the problem right now. What is the problem with the existing products you're not addressing? So that is the reason why A and B are gone. Launch a campaign on social media to increase awareness about company's products. What is the point of increasing my awareness if my products are faulty? Without knowing whether they're faulty or not, I should not unnecessarily go and spend money on my products in terms of marketing. Send an anonymous email to all the employees highlighting customer dissatisfaction. Why should it be anonymous? You are a brand manager there, at least head of sales. You are the person who's supposed to look at the pulse and then say anything to the company. You don't have to send an anonymous email. Okay, and then conduct a research study to find out the reason for customers dissatisfaction. Clearly this is the most logical answer. Without a research you will not know why there is a dissatisfaction. Gopinath says the answer for a lot of these type of questions, what is not the answer, seem to be starting with definitive words like only and stop. Would it be okay to assume? I would never say go ahead and assume, Gopinath, because see, if you are able to get this, I'm sure the examiner can trap you with this knowledge. And the XAT people are really smart. So I would never say go with this assumption. Okay. Third question in this set, please go ahead, take a look at this, give me an answer. This also is a very easy question. It will not take you too much of time. What is the answer? Very good. The correct answer is C. This is very straightforward, right? So there is no rights that you are losing. You are just being asked to work more. It's not taking away your right. Lawsuit for asking you to work more does not apply. I mean, unless you are overburdened and you are like in a toxic environment, your unnecessary lawsuits will not work. Register a complaint with the human rights body. What human rights violations are happening here? They're just asking you to do some extra work, not even burdening you with 15 hours a day, not like that. And go further to education 2 years is ridiculous. So the only correct answer is C. You have to create a forum to understand, discuss and come to the resolution of the issue. So clearly that is a very easy question. Okay. All right. So this is actually a real case which happened and a very easy set for you to understand. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. This happened for one of the exams recently. So we have put this set. We have created this set. Let's go ahead and see what the correct answers are. Okay, it's a very simple set. I hope you guys have finished reading. Here is a question. Give me yes, SP. The first question was tough, the next two were easy. It could be like that. Let us see what answers you guys are going to give. B, E, B or E, B again, E. Okay, I'm getting equal number of B's and E's. Okay, more E's. Okay. Guys, let's take a look at what is the statement here. Applicants did not receive their admit cards for a particular online medical entrance exam on the scheduled date. Applicants sent multiple emails inquiring about the admit card, but the authorities did not provide an answer to the students and the students were clueless about the admit card release date. That's all. First of all, we don't know whether this college comes under the purview of HRD at all. Okay, so let's look at the options. Boycott the exams by no means is the correct answer. You boycott the exam, it's not going to help anybody. Somebody will go and write, they will get in. Go on a hunger strike, again it will not help you. Hunger strike, boycotting, these are extreme measures, and the college will not take it, will listen to students who are doing this. So this is not the right course of action anyway. Protesting outside the concerned organization's office. So these are the options which you should not go ahead with. Protesting, hunger strike, violence, boycotting. None of these are the correct answers in such kind of a case. Now the only problem is these two. Should you write an email to the concerned authorities or write to HRD ministry? HRD ministry, does it have the power to do anything? Yes or no? We don't have an idea about this. But we definitely know that the concerned authorities are the people that you're supposed to reach out to. Now if you ask me in my opinion, will writing an email solve the problem? May not, because they already know they're supposed to come out with the admit card. They know they are delayed. So you writing a mail will not serve too much of a problem or will not help in that problem. But of the 5 given options, definitely you cannot do A, C and D. Now between B and E, we don't know HRD ministry, and why should you write to a ministry for a college's exam? It's not a government college, it's not mentioned that way anywhere. So that's why I will go with B, not because it is the best possible answer. B, because the other options are less viable than what is given. Sometimes in decision making, you will end up taking a case, or you'll end up marking an answer not because that is the best possible answer, but because of the 5 options, the other 4 looks more foolish. That is the reason why you'll pick. So it's like picking the lesser of the foolish answers. And that happens quite a bit in decision making too. So please make sure that an answer need not be the best case. It could be the lesser of the other evils given. Clear? Anirban, yes, but writing to HRD ministry will not serve the purpose anyway. There's no other, that's what I'm trying to explain to you. There's no other recourse. The only way is you have to communicate to the authorities only. Protesting, see, look at it, where are you? Okay, now, do you know the reason? Okay, so the other thing which you need to understand is, do you know the reason why there is a delay? You're protesting, you're boycotting the exam, your hunger strike, all these are done without knowing the reason, Guys, what if there is a valid reason? What if there is a valid reason, which is where the second question comes in. Look at this question now. Now you will understand why all those options without understanding the reason is bad. What if there is a valid reason why there is a delay? Then you taking negative measures is not the right way. Okay? Look at this. What is the answer here? So this is not a difficult question, you know. So if you look at it, internal politics of the organizational internal politics will not affect the exam release of the admit cards. Because at the end of the day, admit cards is a well-oiled process. It has been happening for years together. So it will happen and the process is already in place. So internal organization is not a problem. Authorities are testing the students' ability to adapt to circumstances. They can do that in the exam by conducting the exam, not by torturing students by keeping them in the dark. So that is not even ethical. So this is also gone. Now, if the paper is leaked, they might be thinking, should I continue the exam or should I cancel it right now and re-give the exam date later? Could be a valid reason. Because if I know that the exam is in 5 days or 10 days and I know that my 2 question papers are leaked and I don't have a 3rd question paper, then I might want to take a call. Should I create a new question paper in a very quick manner and see if it can be administered, or because when you do things very, very quickly, you don't know if the result is going to be the perfect result that you want. You know, it could be a random question paper that I'm creating. Or they might say that, okay, we are postponing the exam by 1 week, therefore we are not sure about on that particular day. So the whole idea you need to understand is, without knowing reason, you should not take extreme measures. With this question, now think back and now tell me, is the option B wrong? Okay? Okay, next take a look at not availability of test centers. This actually happened. In fact, this happened for IIFT. I don't know how many of you are aware. IIFT released their center first. They did not give the admit card. They gave the center city, not even the center name. So basically, I'm not saying that I knew exactly what happened, but logical deduction was they released 3 days or 4 days before the exam city that you are in. And 2 days before they released the actual admit card. Why would somebody do it? Simply because if I know which centers are not finalized, if I know that, okay, Bangalore I need 10 centers because so many people are writing, but if I did not finalize the 10 centers, but exam date is coming closer, I can't tell at the last moment people in Bangalore, for at least, even if 10 of the students or 20 students are there, I can't tell them to go and write in Mysore because you don't have a center. So what I'm first supposed to tell them is, look, if your center is changing, if your city especially is changing, then it's better that you go to the city and wait there. So that is why IIFT this year, they released the city first. And after another 2 days, they released the admit card. Is that clear? Saurabh is saying, could you tell us some of the hard vocab that being used in questions like... Saurabh, there is no hard vocab in DM. DM is very simple to understand. Okay? Alright, let's move on. Okay, look at this. Look at this. Gaurav, it is not mentioned that admit card is not released only to few people. It is mentioned that admit card is not released. It means for everyone. So what is the answer to this question, guys? Let's see how many of you get the correct answer here. Well, the correct answer, yes, is of course C, because that is what happens whenever such a problem exists. For example, this happened for, what do you call this, SNAP. Some people, for whatever reason, they had a fourth paper separate. So SNAP was conducted in 3 slots, but very few of us are aware that there is a 4th slot also for SNAP on the same day as the third exam, that is 18th of December. I believe, no, not 18, 23rd of December if I'm not mistaken. 23rd December, there were 2 slots on that day. One was from 2 to 3 and one was from 4:30 to 5:30. So that is because of some issue, some centers, they conducted it later. So same level of paper is done. So that is the best way to handle a situation like this. You can't say a statement like this because you are at fault as an institute. So you can't give statement A. Statement B is bad because students would have prepared hard for it. So some students really had an issue, but many students did not have an issue. So why are you penalizing everyone? C is something which does justice to both. People who have written are safe because they don't have to write again. People who didn't write will get another chance. That is the best way. Okay. The authorities should evaluate the students who appeared for the exam. You can't have 2 different parameters. Parameter has to be same because the entrance exam is the same. And of course, this is ridiculous. So there are totally... the correct answer happens to be C. Alright, let's move on. This is a good question. In fact, a good set. Try to take a look at it. Let's see if you can get the 3 answers correct for this. Oh, actually, two questions only, 7, 8. Let's move on. Okay, done. Here is a question. What is the correct answer? Straightforward. Very good. Straight away the correct answer is 4 only. Because you don't know the reason. The answer, the logic is reason not known. So when you don't know the reason, you should not end the partnership. What if there is a genuine reason why Sushant is doing it and you don't know that reason? It could be a business reason also, right? Ask people to keep an eye. So how will this help? You already know he's coming late, right? So asking them to keep an eye is not going to serve the purpose. Stop paying monthly salary to Sushant, but he's doing work. Yes, he's coming from 11:30, but he's still working. So that is also not correct. Therefore, only 4 is the correct answer. Okay? Right, look at this. This is also an easy question. Very good. The correct answer here also happens to be D. The store opens an hour after most of the offices are open. See, people would like to have an early morning coffee while going to the office probably. So that 1 hour of business you are losing. So there could be a reason why your footfalls are less than expected. Because when you expected, you would have expected from this office hours and before office hours to a particular point. So from point A to point B in time. But now you're starting after point A. Automatically your expectation, what you expected will not be happening. So 1 is correct. The early risers is the only coffee. If I'm the only shop, more people should be coming to me than expected, right? So that is not the reason. This is gone. A few food items are also served at the coffee shop. So what? If there are few food items served in the coffee shop, people can come for food or coffee. They should be coming more to me, not less. Gone. The service at the coffee shop is very low. Yes, if the service is bad or the taste is bad or something is bad, something negative will give me negative result. So therefore, this is also correct. So 1 and 4, answer option is D. It's a very simple question, nothing great. Okay. Right, so I will give you one question now. I want you to solve one nice question which I have. Okay, look at this. This is a calculation based question, okay? So this is one of the calculation based sets. So I hope all of you have your pens and papers with you, and we will slowly go through this. Write down the information that is important for you. You need to calculate this, okay? This is one of the very old XAT decision making questions. Mridul, ideally, if that is a case, you have to pick the option which seems more likely. So if the service is bad, then definitely that is going to be the answer. If you ask me to choose between 1 and 4, I would choose 4. Because if the service is bad, people will not come to me. But if the service is good, the taste is good, everything is good, then even if I start late, people will still come to me. Okay? Lakshmi, because 3 should increase the footfall, not decrease. Anyway guys, do you read this? Read all the information. There's a lot of information in this set. That is the reason why I'm picking it up. This is interesting for calculation purpose. Is this done? Can I move? So you have three ways in which they can buy. They can buy bookstores, they can buy in supermarkets, they can buy online. Three ways in which they can buy. Okay? And they're saying that there are two types of expenses. The expenses are classified as big, small, and medium. This is one way. Or they can also be classified as red, yellow, green, or violet. So the classification of expenses can be done in two ways: big, medium, small, or in terms of colors. And the company has a history of categorizing overall cost into its initial cost and additional cost. So they are saying overall cost can be broken up into two parts: initial cost and overall cost, or additional cost. Sorry, additional costs are also equal to the sum of big, small, and medium expenses. So this is information. I hope you have been able to write this down. Now look at this slide. This table is important. Is this done? Have you written down the table? We have still one more slide. So there are two types of margins. They are defining the margins: contribution margin and profit margin. Contribution margin is sales minus initial cost. So this is the initial cost. So the contribution margin is this minus this, sales minus the initial cost. Profit is contribution minus additional cost. So contribution, this left out, minus the initial cost. So this is the sum of the initial costs. This is called as profit contribution. So if you add these three, you'll be getting 15,800. Right? So 9 plus 6 is 15, 15,000 plus 5 plus 3 is 8,000. So 15,800 is coming from here. These three together will give you 15,800. So this is what the cost breakup is. And the contribution is, finally, profit contribution is 5,200. This is the information given. Now the other piece of information is here. Note this down. So if you notice, this is where the time consumption happens. So that is why I said, if the time has been extended, you can, at least I am expecting one or two questions like this. But if you ask me, is this decision making? No, this is more data interpretation. That is the reason why for the last 2-3 years such questions have reduced and become zero. In my opinion, that's good, because there is already a DI, there is already a quant. You don't want one more section in which the same calculations are happening. But anyway. Is this done? Did you write down the table clearly? So big, small, medium are, now we have how many of these are from the color coded. Red, how many big, or how much is big? Yellow, how much is big? Green, how much is big? And we have this entire breakup. So 15,800 is the complete breakup of this, and this is the sum of all of these, 15,800. Okay? And this is not the end. There's one more table. So look at the amount of information they have thrown at you. There's so much of information given to you. Last table is this. This is the last table. Please note this down too. Yeah, Lakshit, oh my God is the correct statement. This is an actual XAT question, but very old. 2014 paper. I'm sure none of you would have gone that back. But yeah, I digged it up to show you that such questions can come, or they actually have come. But they gave 4 questions, 16, 17, 18, 19. 4 questions on this data. Okay? Can we move on? Have you noted it down? It's not too old. Yeah, 2014 is 8 years old. So, yeah. Yellow doesn't add up. 50, 60, 70, 80. It adds up, no? Sorry. 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 102. Okay. Yeah, you're right. But this is the actual data. I've seen the data yesterday. So I think they made an error there, but that error will not affect your answer. Don't worry. No, Zenifa, this question will not be easier. At least one question only is easy. The others are not that easy. Okay. Let's move on. Alright guys, so moving on. This is the first question. Statement 1, statement 2. Shubham, depends on what other options you have. If you are good in calculations, you can do it. If not, skip. Please note this down. This is information given to you. This is what you'll be getting in the next slide now. Clear? This is the question. These are the 5 options. So this is the question. If you want to calculate the profit loss from the different retail formats, then you need only one statement, 2 statements, 1 and 2, 2 and only none of them together, both of them together is not available or not enough. That's a data sufficiency question. These are the options. Bhaskar, I'm not sure. Thanks Lakshmi, good words like that would motivate us to do more hard work. Bhaskar, I'm not really sure, but I am actually expecting 1 or 2. Ideally, I'll be disappointed if they give calculation-based DM. I'm not a fan of calculation-based DM because that is already happening in DI. But there's no other reason why they're increasing. Or the only way is, yeah, they're increasing the number of sets. Instead of 7 3s are 21, now they're making 22. So it could be a lot more sets. That is another thing. Okay, what is the answer, guys, to this? Which one is correct? Right, the correct answer is option C. So what they're saying is, here first they're giving you, we know that sales is 60,000, but we don't know the breakup of bookstores, supermarket and online. We don't know the breakup. This first statement gives us the breakup. It says 50% is accounted online store. So this is 50%, so 30,000. And the supermarket and bookstore and supermarket is in the ratio 1:2, which means the other 30,000 is to be split as 20k and 10k. And 20k should be going to your bookstore. So bookstore is 20k and supermarket is 10k. So you have the revenue split, first thing. What are they saying? If you want to calculate the profit loss from the different retail formats, to calculate the profit and loss from different retail formats, you should first know the first point, which is the revenue. So without statement 1, you cannot get the answer. So statement 1 is mandatory. Now, initial cost is allocated in the ratio of sales. Initial cost is allocated in the ratio of sales. Now, what is that we have? Initial cost is total 29,000. So the 39,000 should be divided in the ratio of sales. So half of 39,000 will go to online. Then the remaining, out of the remaining, so half of 39,000, in this 1/3 will go to online bookstores, I guess. And then the remaining 2/3 will go to the other format. So you will get the split of your initial cost. Not just that, this cost split is also there with us, because we know, where is this? Yes, we know that the online is basically made into this ratio, 200 by 275. So the cost of this entire 15,800, in fact you can take red, if you, sorry, not 15,800, if you take this red is 5,500. So red online, so online red is 5,500. In that, online part is 200 by 275. So you can start getting your values here. But the beauty here is you don't need to calculate the values to answer this. They are just asking what information we need. We need both pieces of information. Therefore, the correct answer is C. Okay? But the next question is where the trouble starts. Now they are asking you to use and get the value. This is where the calculations will begin. The first question is very easy. You can just understand and then get the answer. Second question needs to be calculated. So take some time. Give me the answer to this. So you're supposed to use the data from the previous question, which means the information in statement 1 and 2. You should use statement 1 and 2 information. Let's see how many of you get the correct answer. No cheating, by the way. You should not be looking up the answer on Google. Be quick, guys. I have one more question after this. That's also a very good question. I want you to look at that. Unfortunately, there is no calculator given to you in the XAT exam. That's another troublemaker. Okay, you don't have a calculator. At least in CAT, you have an on-screen calculator. Here, there is no such thing at all. So all calculations have to be done with your paper and pen in your mind. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. We need for online sales. So first thing what we know is online sales revenue. Revenue for online sales is 30,000. We just calculated that. Now I have to look at my breakup of cost. There are two types of cost. What are the two types of cost? First is initial cost. Initial cost, half will straight away be given to online because the initial cost is in proportion. Initial cost is in proportion to the sales. So my initial cost for online sales will be 39,000 into half. Is it 39? Yeah, 39,000, half of that. So this will be how much? To 19,500, correct? So 19,500 is the initial cost. Fine. But that is not the only cost. There is one more cost for us. What is the other cost? The other cost is this. Is your, what do you call this? Yeah, additional cost. So this is your additional cost. 15,800. Now I have to look at breaking this 15,800, which is the additional cost, and find out how much is it for online. Now we know additional cost is broken in terms of the units consumed. So if you look at additional cost, so this is additional cost, 15,800. Additional cost, 9,300 is big, 3,000 is small, 3,500 is medium. So let's take a look at red. So if you look at red, if you look at red sales for online, 200 out of 275. So 200 out of 275 is your percentage of sales from online, and red accounts for 5100. So this is 5100 into 200 by 275 plus. Similarly, if you look at yellow, it is 52 by 100 into what is yellow online? Yellow online is 1200, right? Plus, now 50 out of 80, 50 out of 80 into, now what is green? Green is 1400, right? 1400 green, oh sorry, not 1400, so this will be 5500. Why will it be 5500? Because this red here is the total. Red, I am not taking big, I am taking big, small and medium all put together, right? All put together. So this will be 3100, so this will be 3100, and this will be 4800, this will be 4800, plus the last part 50 out of 80 again, plus 50 out of 80 into what we have here, 2400. This is your online additional cost. Online additional cost. So this will also be subtracted. So additional cost online sales will be equal to this number, whatever you get from here. Now you can understand why this is time consuming and why this is painful to attempt. Okay. So if you simplify this, you will be getting some number, and the final answer here based on this subtraction. So revenue minus initial cost minus additional cost. So this final will turn out to be 388 approximately profit. So the correct answer for this question is option D. Did you guys understand how lengthy this was? So be careful when you get into such kind of questions. Alright? Okay, now last set, 2 questions. I'm going to give you one last set. This is a very interesting set. Take a look at it and give me an answer. This actually happened in my life, but I'm glad that this also came in XAT. I was a faculty in one of the business schools, so that is where I have come across this particular scenario in life, and I actually employed the same situation, the same logic that has been given in this DM set. Okay? Mridul, check the calculations. I'm not getting into the calculations right now, but yeah, you can check the calculations later. I use a calculator, so I got the correct answer, so fine. So first question here, what is the probability that a poor student gets the correct answer? What is the answer to this? The poor student gets correct answer. What is the probability, guys? Based on the information here, what is the probability that the poor guy gets, or poor guy in studies get the correct answer? Because it is mentioned there is no learning advantage. You need to understand the meaning of this. What is the meaning of no learning advantage? Yes, correct. So probability that poor student gets the correct answer is 1/6, because he is randomly going to mark. Whereas probability that a good student gets it correct is 1/5, and probability that a brilliant student gets it correct is 1/4, because they have additional advantage in terms of learning. So brilliant student has his own information based on which he will be getting the answer, and there's a 25% chance that he gets it right. Okay, poor student has no such thing, so he's going to just randomly mark anything. Okay, let's move on. Look at this question, give me the answer. So what is the answer to this? Very good. The correct answer is option C. Why? See, it is not possible is not the answer. It is possible. Okay? It is possible. It is always possible. It is not always possible also. There are certain situations under which you cannot get the answer. Okay? But it is possible for only poor students but not for good and brilliant students. However, there can be a small error of judgment. This is also not correct. You can. Under what circumstances can you find this? And this is actually what I did. So I had my MBA students when I was teaching them finance. Some of them copied and I knew they copied. So the way in which I did that is exactly the answer here. So I checked the answers which are wrong. So see, I can solve a question correctly and get the same correct answer as the next person without copying. So just because his correct answer is matching with my correct answer does not mean that we copied. Because correct answer everybody will get the same. However, to get the wrong answer, you should make the exact same mistake I am making to get the same wrong answer. The chance of that happening is very, very less compared to both of us getting correct. So if continuously both of us, 2 students sitting or 3 students sitting together or 4 students sitting together, all mark the same wrong answers, that means you all copied. Imagine 4 students making the same silly error, not once, not twice, but for a set of questions. See, if the question has a trap, I can still understand that, okay, all of you fell into the trap. Good. But it cannot be that all questions are trappy and all of you are falling into the trap. So if many questions have the same wrong answer, it means the group has copied. By doing that, you will be getting you'll be able to catch hold of the people who copied. Okay? So that is your answer. Last question here. Dumru, maybe yes you can. I am at least expecting some calculation based. So what is the answer, guys? So the correct answer here is option E, and that's the best part of this particular question. Why is it answer E? You cannot get the answer to this because probability of good person, good student is 1 by 5. Now what you need to understand here is the good students probability when I'm giving you, what you are forgetting is this does not mean it is randomly they are getting it correct. This means they have knowledge. So if I attempt 5 questions based on my knowledge, I will get 1 correct and 4 wrongs. That is the meaning. It does not mean that I am attempting all 5 randomly. So the difference between poor guys. So if I ask you this instead of good, if I say poor, then you will get the answer for it. If I ask you for poor student, you will get the answer. Why? Because the poor students are randomly marking. But when you're talking about a good student is not randomly marking. The moment you're saying not randomly marking, you need to say, does the student know the answer to this particular question or not? If he knows the answer to the particular question, he will not mark it wrong at all. If he does not know, then he will mark it wrong. He may mark it wrong. Okay? So the whole point here is you need to understand that as far as the good students and the brilliant students are concerned, they are not giving the answers randomly. So if it is not random, probability cannot be calculated. If it is not random, see, remember, probability is all about random chance. If the event is not random, you cannot be coming with an answer. That is the reason why it's very fundamental and conceptual. Clear? So that brings us to the end of the session, my friends. I hope you enjoyed it. So please give me a like. We will be coming back to you. That is Gautam Bawa and I will be coming back to you on the 8th of January, which is day after tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. with our analysis. By then, Saral will already have given you the first cut. Probably the first cut will be done by 5:45, 5:50. So be tuned. Stay tuned. Please stay tuned into our channel of YouTube as well as our app. We'll be coming back to you with all the analysis on the exam day. So see you, my friends. All the very best, and I hope you guys ace the exam. Thank you, guys.